Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 21 of the Gaming Fuse podcast. Now moved to a new time and date. Yes, Tuesday evenings, 9:30 Eastern, 7:30 Mountain Time. I'm your host, Mr. Boom Boom Kaboom and Snoop Nukem, in the room. And god dang, it's good to be back in front of the camera and in front of all you guys and gals in the chat. It feels like it's been an eternity since we did an official podcast. I do apologize. Life gets in the way sometimes, and unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about it, but I appreciate the patience of my co-panel members for sticking through it for the last couple of weeks. I hope that between everybody's in the chat and my co-panel members that everybody's okay with the new time slot. Tuesday is just a pretty good night for me overall. It really doesn't conflict with a lot. We moved it up a little bit earlier to 7:30, so it's down from the old 8 o'clock Gaming After Dark time slot. So I think it works. Let me know in the chat if you guys think the time is decent. I really don't want to be bouncing this thing around any longer than we have been. Let's get the show on the road. But any further ado, I will say that Coolcat Terri can't be with us tonight, and she might not be with us for the next couple of episodes due to her conflicting work schedule. But she will be back. Don't worry. She's a big part of this show, and she's looking forward to getting back and chiming in. And hopefully we can get her back sometime in and around perhaps the Game Awards. But again, it depends on her schedule. Let's bring in my co-panel member straight out of Northern Alberta, Canada, Mental Night R.
Hello. It's great to be back. Glad the show's back up and running, and I'm looking forward to it. Getting into some good topics tonight, and welcome everyone in the chat. Let's get started. I'm not going to say any more than that. I want to get going. Let's do it.
Absolutely. And speaking of Game of the Year nominees, Alan Wake 2, I do believe is one of them. So looking forward to getting into that conversation shortly. And welcoming to the show for the first time ever making his live appearance on the Gaming Fuse podcast, my former co-host and panel member of Gaming After Dark. You guys know him as the flamboyant, electrifying, and Wize Old Fart. We know him as the Wize Old Gamer, and here he is live in the flesh.
What's up, everybody, panel and chat? This is the Wize Old Gamer, the man who brings the train in restraining order. How's everyone doing tonight?
Nice.
That's why we love Wize. He's got a few good lines, let me tell you. All right, glad that you can be here, Wize. Appreciate it, brother. How all is well. Yes. All right. Let's say hello to the chat real quick because we got a lot of familiar faces here, and this podcast wouldn't be possible without you guys. Doggy Dog 420 is the first man in the room tonight. Good to see you here. Longtime friend of the show, Mr. Timothy Dixon, is with us as well. Talos Ray is hanging out in the chat. Good to see you, Talos. We got good friend Draven Arrow. Jason Max is in the building. Good to see you here too, Jason Max. We got Two Pat Stack, another Canadian, in the house tonight. Good to see you here. Sir X-Man is in the building. What's up, Sir X-Man? We got Your Wicked Hot hanging out with us. I also see Invader Gaming, another fellow Canadian. Lots of Canadians here tonight. Casket Repairs hanging out with us as well. Darko's Dreamers is in the building. Wow, we got a great crew here already. Joe Dunmore is here. What's going on, guys? Yeah, hit that like button and subscribe, just like Wize said in the chat. Thanks for coming out, guys. You are amazing. We do have one super chat. We'll get that one out of the way, and then we'll jump right into the topics. He drops $1.99 like it's hot. Go ahead, Mental.
Oh, let me do this one. Let me do this one.
Wow, somebody's rusty.
No. Let me do this one.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead there.
All right, go
Wize,
for it.
You got it. I know you can do this.
The Gaming Fuse is back. Woo! All
right, there we go. The excitement is
Good
back in
old
the
clip.
building, guys. It's going to be a good show
Right on.
tonight, guaranteed. Thanks
Caught
for
me
that.
looking at the wrong screen, Noof.
That was
I'm looking
funny.
over
That
and
was
I'm like,
great.
I don't see anything. What am I supposed to
Pay
read?
attention. You're on the ticker, man.
I wasn't looking at the live one. I was looking at the stream on YouTube.
Dude,
so I didn't see it.
when they do when he does your performance reports, man, shit, you're fucked. That's all I
Yeah,
gotta say,
I'm the
man.
rookie. I'm the rookie.
Hey, man, I love that
cut
reaction.
me some
I'm going to
slack.
have to go back and screen cap because that looks like the face that Mental probably made the first time he saw a pair of nice tits.
Well, if you want to see some flabby tits, I got some nice.
Oh,
saggy
Lord.
bags
Oh
here.
my!
You keep that shirt on there,
Put it,
Mental.
okay.
Wize.
I need somebody to put a super chat in there, and once the super chat comes on, the shirt comes off. There you go.
Lord.
Oh. No super chats, please.
He just killed all my super chats for tonight. Thank you very much.
Hey, there's some
Trying
people
to
in this
do
chat
a,
that's
oh
not
no,
seen.
it's Alex.
No. There's some people in this chat that I know for a fact, Dog has not seen a fucking tit in years, if ever. So hey, so one tit's better than any. It's done. So there you go.
It's funny. Oh man. Oh, great stuff. So tonight we're going to quickly just go over, I guess, the nominees for the Game Awards. You know, it's one of the most anticipated times of the year, at least for some people. First of all, let me just ask you guys the question, and to the chat as well. When you watch the Game Awards, this is always an interesting question. What do you primarily watch the gaming awards for? The actual awards or the game announcements or other? I want to know. Let's start with Wize Old Gamer. When you watch the Game Awards, what's your primary reasoning behind it?
That fucking hot little bitch that comes up in there and shows talks about all of those freaking awards that nobody gives a fuck about. Like, you know, best choreographer, best masturbator, best, you know, that woman that comes up in there, you know.
Right.
I mean, that
I
lady
didn't see that category before, but, you know.
That lady's got a badunkadunk for fucking days. And I will sit there and admire that until the cows come home and leave the following morning.
Are you talking about Sydney Goodman, the one he said,
I don't give
right?
a damn about her name. I just care about her ass. That's all I
idea.
care about. All the names are the same and all the looks are the same once the lights go out. That's all I got to say.
All right. Let's get next super chat coming up. Mental, you got the right screen up this time? Go ahead.
I do.
Darko's
Anyone
Dreamers.
see the $5 billion lawsuit the UK is bringing against Sony for overcharging its gamers?
I have not seen that, but that is interesting. Yeah, I might have to
I
dig
was
into that
aware-
story.
I was aware of one from a while back. Is there a new one? Is that what's happening? Another one? Because I knew they had something going on to do. I think even with hardware costs and stuff, where they were price gouging or something. I think it was what the UK was accusing them of, something like that. But yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably I'll try to dig that story up for another week because this whole conversation of the nominees is going to take a while. How about you, Mental? When you watch the Game Awards, primarily what do you tune in for?
Definitely not so much the awards, right? I play games. I don't play nominations or, you know, meta scores, things like that. So I don't care too much about the game aspect of it. It's more just I want to see if there's anything new, like new trailers or things like that, you know, reveals, I guess was the word I'm looking for.
Right.
Always looking forward to the new reveals.
You're watching for reveals, and so am I. So just different kinds of reveals. So.
There you go. There you go. Different priorities on that front. But yeah, I know. That would be my main motivation. Like I say, I don't... The rewards are a joke to me. I'm kind of spoiling, I guess, my opinion of the first topic probably, but I'll shut up.
No, you said it perfectly fine, and you are echoing exactly what a lot of the chat are saying here. I'm watching the chat, and most people are saying they do it for the announcement. It's kind of sad because essentially, you know, you do want to celebrate the industry. We want to celebrate, you know, the best of the various categories, and it's not like some of the nominees aren't well deserving by any means, but we all can see that there is a lot of politics behind the show. And I've always given Jeff Keighley a pass, mostly on the fact that the Game Awards are literally the only major outlet that covers what is one of the world's biggest entertainment industries, which is weird because the movies have how many award shows? Like a ton. And music has a ton of award shows. And gaming has next to almost nothing. Outside of the Game Awards, there's what? The DICE, the Digital Interactive Awards or whatever. But there's a lot less for gaming celebrations than there are for... the other entertainment avenues. Sorry?
Don't you have you also have the golden joysticks as well?
The golden joysticks. Yeah. I mean, there are a few, but I mean, in terms of like national television exposure and that sort of thing, it's not even close to the movies. And again, gaming is a bigger industry now, but yet it still gets looked at and still gets categorized as like a gaming, as a toy, as it never gets the serious... It never gets the recognition it's due. And I think with shows like The Last of Us TV show coming out and getting a lot of critical acclaim and getting sort of bringing the gaming medium forward and bringing these intriguing characters forward, I think it's starting to get a little bit more recognition because of that stuff. But it's kind of sad that games have to transition over to TV and movies to try to gain traction for the medium that shouldn't need that kind of exposure. Now, kind of getting off a topic, but you know, the awards, like I said, they become secondary. I watch it for the game trailers as well, and there's always a few really good doozies every year. Jeff always seems to drum up some worthwhile stuff, so the award show is worth it for that. I think the other problem with the award show is it's too long. they need to they need to, if they're going to give an award, give people their time and due for the award, and stop
Mhm.
like skipping the awards basically, and having them just come up on the screen for 5 seconds, and then the rest of the show is like crap. I mean, I don't really give a crap about the esports categories. I think that's just bogus. But anyway, let's get into the nominees and the topics.
Especially when you're
Well,
nominating coaches or esports coach of the year, and the
Right?
guys you're nominating, not even all of them actually coached that year. So
well,
that's
to be honest with you, the reason everyone likes the everyone likes the trailers and stuff is because that's really what the Game Awards is highlighting. If you look at how they
yeah.
present the awards are always
Right.
rushed. Sometimes there's got one person coming up there and saying, "Oh yeah, we gave out these 5 fucking awards that nobody cares about. Here they are," you know. And we're like, "Okay, well, fuck it. Okay, that who cares? If you don't care, why should I care?" It seems like let's be honest. The reason Keeley did this was to generate ad revenue. Okay,
Right.
and ad revenue comes from trailers, and that's what he puts out, and that's
Mm-hmm.
the way he puts the importance in the show on trailers. We as reciprocate to that. So do you fault us for caring for the trailers and not the awards? Because they themselves don't give a fuck about the awards. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about the supposed Xbox tax. Hopefully, if we can get time. So we're gonna go through a little bit of the Game Awards, but we're not going to have time to go through all the nominees. We'll be here for like 4 hours, so we're going to keep this on point. So I'm just going to talk about obviously probably the couple of the biggest categories, which are obviously going to be Game of the Year, and let's see. I'm going to share the screen so we can go through the category and we'll decide which one we want to talk about here. So just give me a sec. I'll pull it up on the screen so everybody can see. So let's nope, wrong. I always hate this. Always share screen. That's what I'm looking for. I'm rusty. Can you tell? All right, here we go.
Yeah, that's a
Sharing the
rookie mistake.
screen. Yeah, routes rookies. There we go. Here we go, guys. There you go. There's a look at the nominee categories. So, best esports, who cares? Best esports coach, who cares? Best esports team, who cares? Best esports athletes, who cares? Is esports game? Jesus, who cares? Content creator of the year, who gives a shit about that? Most people I never even heard of. Okay, so let's talk about the most anticipated game. Let's go with that one. That's a futuristic kind of category here. So in that we have, here are your nominees for most anticipated game. We have Tekken 8, Star Wars Outlaws, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Hades 2, and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. How about you guys? What would be your pick here? And are there any notable admissions? Because I could think of one that's not here that I'm excited for that's not in this category, and that's Hellblade 2. But once again, why is Hellblade 2 not in there? We pretty much know
Yeah.
it's coming out next year.
Well,
Is nobody
Yeah.
excited for it, or is it just because it's a
no,
Microsoft thing again?
Wait a minute. No. It's not the Microsoft thing. These games that they've announced for the anticipated games are confirmed for 2024. Hellblade 2 and Avowed are not. Even though we almost are certain that they're going to come out, we are not concrete that they're going to come out in FY 2024 yet. So maybe that's why they don't have it. But of the games that they're showing, personally speaking, I'm not seeing. Okay, let's put it this way: Outlaws, I've only seen 2 pieces of it. I'm not seeing a full vertical slice of the game. Of what they showed me, am I interested and intrigued? Yes. But of the nominees that they have right here, right now, my vote would go to definitely Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because I played the prior one, and yeah, so I know what I'm going into, and I'm looking into how they're going to take something that is linear in Final Fantasy VII and then taking it and making it open world like the OG Final Fantasy VII was. So that is what has piqued my interest. How do you take something of this level of development and make it open, well, sort of open world and stuff like that, where you can go to any continent and visit any city? So that's what I'm intrigued about. So that's my personal choice of this award.
Mental, anything on this list stand out to you, or have they missed a couple that you're excited about?
Star Wars Outlaws on this list. I mean, I thought the trailers or previews, whatever you want to call it, that I've seen of that, it looks really intriguing. Like, it looks really good. So that would be the one out of this list that I'm looking forward to. I'm not really a Final Fantasy guy. I have Hades. I haven't played it. It's one of my backlog of
I
shame
rebuke
games.
you for saying what you just said, by the way. I rebuke you.
Yeah,
That's sacrilege in the same
yeah, yeah. Please forgive me. But yeah, I mean, I'm not really a fighter type and stuff,
Right.
so Final Fantasy's never really been my thing. Although I'm gonna try the remaster of Final Fantasy VII or the reboot of it, whatever it is. I will try that because I have that PlayStation Extra, so it's in there. I can play it. I've got it downloaded. When I'll get to it, who knows? I'll probably have time to play it when it's gone. But I will contradict what our illustrious guest said. According to a Bing search, and yes, I did use Bing because this is an Xbox show, Hellblade 2 release date is set sometime in 2024. This was confirmed by developer Ninja Theory in the official gameplay trailer released during the Xbox showcase in 2023. So it does say it's supposed to be out next year. And in that light, that's a huge miss here in my mind. And I've got my opinions on the Xbox tax that I'll explain later. Whether or not it affects a category like this, I don't know. But it is a bizarre one to miss because I think that is a highly anticipated game. The trailers for it so far look pretty darn impressive. Oh yeah, haven't got to see the combat, but graphically it looks like it's going to be very
but let me
impressive.
ask you. I mean, I'm not trying to play Xbox tax here, but let me play devil's advocate, if you will, here. Okay, what about the game have they shown you that has intrigued you about the game, strictly from that game? I mean, because all they've shown me was 2 snippets and then a bunch of landscapes.
Yeah, no, fair enough, fair comment.
But again,
what intrigues me about it is
anticipated. Just the title alone can anticipate, because we don't know a whole lot about the games that they have listed on this thing either. Outside of Star Wars, we haven't seen a ton of any of these games. I mean, you're basing Hades 2 on the fact that a lot of people like the first one, but I never heard anybody talking about Hades 2. Final Fantasy, it's a freaking remake, so literally, how excited can you get about that?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I know how much I loved Hellblade 1. So of course I'm going to be excited for Hellblade 2. I've played Hellblade 1, I've played through it twice. And I'm probably going to play it a third time, to be honest, before Hellblade 2 comes out. I loved the game. I didn't have any problems with the walking simulation that was in it. I enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to it. And I mean, I enjoyed it before it was owned by Xbox. So I'm not a hypocrite in that regard. It's not like, oh, that looks like trash, and then, oh, hey, Xbox bought it. I love it. That's not who I am. I play games.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying the game isn't good or the game would be good. I'm actually looking forward to Hellblade 2 as well. And if it was on this list, then I definitely would have voted for it, because the original Hellblade was a freaking acid trip. Like, I mean, if you ever want to have an experience,
it was crazy.
If you ever want to have an experience playing that game, take an edible and play that fucking game. I swear to you God, it's like, it'll like change your fucking life. Like you'll literally hear voices once you take the headphones off. Literally. I mean, seriously.
Well, I'm going to put it out there right now. I'm going to put this out there right now. I don't know. I haven't checked the Metacritic score for the original Hellblade, but I'm going to guarantee you this, that the second game comes out and scores considerably lower than the first game. I'd be willing to put money on it. And I'll put my money where my mouth is. I'll do a freaking game giveaway.
Let's do a bet amongst friends here. What was their Metacritic scores?
I don't know. Let's look it up. Let's look up the Metacritic score for the original Hellblade here.
81 on PS4. It was an 81.
Right.
User
81.
score was a 7.9.
Let's just go with Metascore. 81. Let's put it this way. Go ahead.
I'll just. Do we want to go with the PS4 score? Because that doesn't make sense. It's going to be on. It won't be on PlayStation. Let's go with the Xbox One score, which was 88.
Okay.
Okay. So let's put a bet here. I think it's going to be higher. Let's take the average of the two. 84 and 88. That averages to an 86. So
it was 81. So
80.
4.5.
Yeah, well, 85.
85.
I'm gonna draw a line in the sand and say it's going to get higher than an 86,
mm-hmm.
which means it's going to be higher than the PS4 score, but maybe
Well,
shy
you know
on it.
what? For the sake of the game and just for the sake of the Xbox outlook on things, I hope you're right. But I'd be willing to bet it scores less in the overall scheme of things, even though I got a feeling that in almost every category, the game is probably going to be better than its predecessor. I mean, this is Ninja Theory, a high pedigree company. They've had a lot of time to develop this now. They've got a lot more resources, a lot more money. And I suspect that, on almost every department, they're going to make this game better than the first one because they've heard the criticisms of the first game. And most companies generally build upon a solid foundation and continue to move forward. And graphically, from what we have seen, it's shaping up to be certainly one of the most visually impressive games of this generation. So, but with saying that, like I said, we're getting way off topic here. But I'm just telling you, um, we'll see. I hope to come back and say that I'm right on this topic. As far as this anticipated list, I'm going to have to go with Star Wars Outlaws. It's the best looking game of this category to me. I'm not a big fighting game fan, as exciting as I am for Tekken 8. That one doesn't move the needle for me. And Final Fantasy Rebirth might be the next one on this list, but again, it is. It's a remake of an old great game. Regardless, I mean, all pretty worthwhile titles there for sure. But let's catch up with the chat real quick because we got some amazing people hanging out with us tonight. I see Jesse Darby is in the building. It's good to see him here. Royal Boyle graces with his presence. Iceman LMH is in the building. We got Two Pad Stack here as well. Splendifrous is hanging out with us. Speaking of, he drops a super chat. And Mental, you can take this one.
Wize Old Gamer, your volume is too low. Pump it up.
For $2.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you pretty damn good.
Yeah, I'm hearing you okay.
All right.
But
little
quieter than
we're going to
Noof,
bring
but
this conversation full circle after because we will talk about the supposed Xbox tax. It depends on which side of the fence you're on. If you think that's just a load of shit, or there's a massive coincidence on that. But anyway, let's move on to another category. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what the next. Where the hell did we go here? View all the categories. All right, so that one was the most anticipated game. Let's move into. How about let's move into best multiplayer game. All right, and let's see what we got for this one. All right, so it looks like we got Super Mario Brothers Wonder. We got Street Fighter 6, Party Animals, Diablo 4, and Baldur's Gate 3. Now, of this list, I have only played Diablo 4, Party Animals. I've not played any of the rest. What game do you think will take this vote?
I think Baldur's Gate's going to run away with a lot of stuff this year, so I'd probably put my money there if I was going to bet on it. But I haven't played it. I haven't played any of these games.
Okay.
Eventually, I will play Diablo 4. That's the only one I'm actually interested in this list.
So for me, Super Mario Wonder, it has done quite a bit in my personal family. This is the one game that, like, my wife is totally not a gamer, like, and the antithesis of a gamer. But when we me and my son were playing this, my younger boy, she saw it and she wanted to play, and she picked up a controller, and without even having to know what each button does, she was able to just get in and have a great time. And we spent 2 hours, me, my wife, and my little one, playing this game. So on a personal level, I believe Super Mario. I would vote for Super Mario Wonder. However, if I'm a betting man, I would go, like as Mendel said, with Baldur's Gate 3, because I think Baldur's Gate 3, for what it did, is going to make a clean sweep of everything it's in it, I think.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Interesting thought. I'm going to go with Super Mario Brothers Wonder on this, simply because they're going to make sure that Nintendo walks away with some awards at this show, and it's one of the most recognizable characters and games of the year. And because he doesn't have a lot of nominations in other categories, I have this weird feeling that's the one that's going to win. I could be wrong.
Fair enough.
But that's my thought. Doggy Dogs is Street Fighter 6. I heard nothing but great things about Street Fighter 6. I did play Diablo 4, and it is a ton of fun with friends. There's no question about it. But again, I don't think that one's going to win.
Hey, Noof, can I say something?
Go ahead.
Okay. Loke, if you're listening to this, Street Fighter 6 sucks. That's it.
Sometimes he listens to this. I know Doggy Dog likes Street Fighter 6 and Mortal Kombat 11, or Mortal Kombat 1. Is it 1 they call it now?
One of my panelists is Loke 7. I know you know him, and he's a huge fighter, and I like just basically yanking his tail and saying, all the fighters suck and stuff. So yeah, just wanted to record and say that.
Last time Last fighter I played, I think, was on Sega Genesis, Mortal Kombat from that era.
Alrighty. See, there you go again. Like best multiplayer, but like there's no Battlefield, there's no Call of Duty, there's no Forza games in there. There's like,
Let me ask you a question.
you
Here's a
know,
question though. If they would
Is
have
there an,
nominated Call of Duty, would that been a shit show? With all of
I
the
mean,
negative
Call of
buzzers.
Duty. It's one of the largest played multiplayer games every year. They got co-op, they got zombies, they got like everything under the sun. Why? And it's not even nominated. That's weird.
No.
and
To me,
I
that's
just
weird.
got an email from our friends at Activision today bragging about how this is their most successful launch ever, and they've got more players playing at this stage in the game than they've ever had before.
Right. And
So
I can
is
tell you the
Call of Duty 3 a
MW3
flop or?
MW3 multiplayer is fire so far. So
Yeah, that's what people are saying, but it's not here.
it's not
Um,
even nominated. Like what the fuck,
it's
right?
weird. Maybe there's another category for first-person shooters or something.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, we'll get to that in a sec. Let's go to the best sports racing game here, guys. Let's see what that one brings us up. So for best sports racing game, the Crew Motor Fest. We got Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharge, Forza Motorsport, F123, and EA Sports FC. God, I wish they'd change this fucking category. It drives me nuts. Put the racing games in their own category, for fuck's sakes. Um, I hate this shit. Just drives me nuts every year. Like, is racing games that niche? Like already we've seen there's 4 racing games in this category, and you're telling me they don't deserve their own category. Then you throw in fucking old footy ball over there. Fucking,
I'm
oh my
so
god, Jesus.
confused.
But
I'm
anyway,
so
what's the
confused.
favorite racing
And
game for you guys here? I mean, I've only played one of these games that are on this list, and that's Forza. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I could give two shits.
yeah, it would be Forza for me probably. I haven't played any of them at this point. I haven't played Forza yet either. I've been just too busy playing other things. But I'm surprised that you would have this many racing games. Where's Gran Turismo in here? That's a little bit surprising because it had the higher Metascore, right?
yeah, but that was last year's game though.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right too. Yeah,
Unless you're including the, well, I wouldn't I wouldn't have put them past me to put it
yeah.
in there
I
because you
mean,
get the VR mode. So who fucking knows,
yeah,
right?
yeah. No, I
Yeah.
was for some reason thinking it was earlier this year, but time flies, I guess, when you're having fun actually
Yeah.
playing games
So I
instead of
guess
playing
here's
Twitter.
unanimous for us on the panel. We go with Forza Motorsport because that's the one we played.
Yeah,
For me, I mean,
I
Forza,
would go
to
with
me,
that.
is it as good as Forza 7? No. So to me, I think Forza Motorsport, in my opinion, is a downgrade. Not what I really expected, but still a very strong and worthwhile addition to the series.
I part of the reason I'm holding off is I'm hoping they change the progression system and stuff. Like I'm hoping they fix some of the things people have been complaining about. Um, one of my buddies though, he's playing it. I see him on constantly playing it. Like we've been friends since we were, you know, sub like single digit age, and I see he's on there all the time playing it. So he must be enjoying it. I haven't talked to him about it yet, but um, I don't know. A
Now,
lot
if,
of things I've heard are
no, I've heard some good things. I've heard like I have a friend who plays it, and he says that the customization, because he's that's all he really plays is those simulation games like Flight Simulator and
Hmm.
that stuff. And he said that the customization, you can get really down to the gears and to the metal of the actual cars, and it's just phenomenal
yeah.
what they have in there. So yeah,
Next
for somebody who's interested in
category.
that stuff, yeah.
We got the best action adventure game, and this might be one of the toughest categories to call this year. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Resident Evil 4, the remake, Marvel Spider-Man 2, and Alan Wake 2. How about you guys? What games have you played from this list? I've only played one, and that is Spider-Man 2.
I've played Alan Wake and Resident Evil and Spider Man. I have Jedi Survivor, haven't had a chance to play it yet. I do not have Tears of the Kingdom. But of the three I've played,
Mm-hmm.
it would be probably Resident Evil 4. I haven't finished Alan Wake, I'm getting close. I have some thoughts on Spider Man that I'll share later. But Yeah, Alan Wake 2 is really fun. Like I've been enjoying it. To me, it's more of a survival horror though. Like even Resident Evil 4, I'm not sure how it fits into this category. Maybe this category just includes that, but it feels like they're both kind of more survival type horror games in my mind. But anyway, go ahead, wise old gamer.
Well,
Spread your wisdom.
You're talking about games that got snubbed. What about Hogwarts Legacy? Like, where's
Yes, entirely.
like,
That could have
See,
easily
that
been in
fits
this
this
category.
category. Yeah, that
Yeah.
fits this category more for me than
That
like
fits this category more than Resident Evil, in my personal opinion.
yeah, or well,
Yeah.
Alan Wake too. Like that, just those two don't make sense to me to be in
Action
here.
adventure, yeah. Right?
Yeah.
I've played all of them except for Alan Wake because my backlog is just crazy and I've just not had time. It just came out. Tears of the Kingdom.
Calling Alan Wake 2 action adventures like saying a porno is a romantic movie. You know what I mean?
Well, it depends on which porno you're watching. If you're watching 1X and 2X, then yes, it's true. Now, if you're watching just hardcore, lips to sausage, then that's a different story. But anyhow, yeah. Tears of the Kingdom, played it, liked it, didn't like it that much as the original for some reason. Got bored with all of this stuff, so I didn't care for it. It gave me too much customization, gave me Minecraft vibes. I'm not a Minecraft guy. Jedi Survivor equally as good. There were a lot of issues that I was having in initial playthrough, so I had to put it down.
Part of the reason I haven't played it.
Yeah, and they've not even fixed the damn game. They're like releasing new updates to this game, but they're not fixing the prior problems and stuff. It's still there.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4, I'm not going to give that. If I had to vote, I would not vote for Resident Evil 4, even though it's a stellar remake. I just do not believe that their remakes should be a part of this discussion. I think there should be.
They could have their own category because there's that
Yeah.
many remakes that your best remake game, because pretty much there's like 6 or 7 every year.
Exactly.
Can almost
Right.
have enough for a second reward show just based on remakes.
Yeah, so
pretty
if
bad.
And I was played Spider-Man 2, and it's phenomenal too. So of the games that they chose, and the ones that I played, I would tip my hat towards Spider-Man 2 because it's the one I had the most fun of all the games that I have played in this, and that is not a remake. So yeah, that would be my vote.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to vote Spider-Man. Although, like almost every game on this list, I would consider playing or buying. The least favorite would be Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I didn't really like the first game, to be honest with you, so I have no intentions of buying the second one. And Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Well, I don't have a Switch anymore, so it makes it hard for me to play that, obviously. But that one didn't move my needle like Breath of the Wild, simply because it literally looked like Breath of the Wild 2, essentially.
With worse
It was Breath of
performance.
the Wild 2. They reused everything except for, and they just added a couple of
Exactly. So to me, all that was just like it's essentially just a rehash game, and yeah, it becomes a Game of the Year nominee. So go fucking figure. Yeah. So anyway,
I do have a question for something you just said prior. You said that you didn't care for the original Fallen Order. Why? Not that it was
I
too
just
hard,
I
right?
just didn't like the Souls like combat style system. I'm honestly I'm not even a big fan of Cal Kestis, the character. I like the little droid that goes around with him, but there's something about the mechanics of that game I just didn't jive with it. And then of course the very confusing map design, which made me curse more often than not. I'm like, yeah, I'm out. This is not like, to me. I'll take the Force Unleashed games over this all day, every day.
Force Unleashed was a little bit more linear than this one.
Exactly, I liked it way better.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I do not like life meters and shit with every enemy. Like, you're a Jedi with a friggin' lightsaber. It shouldn't take you 20 fucking whacks on everything to kill it. I'm sorry. That's just, that to me is like the Incredible Hulk in the Avengers game. Fucking, he can't even beat a little shit stick with a shield. Like, you're whacking at him and like, it's the Hulk. He's like fucking one of the most powerful characters. One smack and that dude is across the universe. You know what I mean? I shouldn't have to use special powers to beat down a little shit stick human that's got a shield in his hand. That took me right out. That made me like, well, what's the point of the Hulk, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I totally see that. Yeah.
That's like you should bring the Hulk in, and he should be like wrecking the whole map. It's like dude's overpowered. Like you got to bring out the big guns that stop in. Like the tanks got to come out and shit to have any chance. You know?
Well, when you start having characters like superheroes as characters in video games, you sort of have to nerf them to a certain extent. Like if you ever make a Superman video game, that character has to eventually die. But what the fuck can kill Superman? So yeah, same story.
Kryptonite.
Hey, they made great Hulk games in the past. Remember Hulk Unleashed or whatever the hell it was on the original Xbox? You just jumped around the map and crushed everything.
Oh yeah, the one where you could take the car, break it in half, and use them as
Ultimate
gloves.
Destruction, right? That's the one.
Yeah,
That was a wicked game. See, that's what I'm saying.
That's true.
And you felt really fucking powerful. You were jumping across the friggin' map. You're climbing up the buildings. You're smashing shit to pieces. And I was like, yeah. And then you get this one, and you're like, oh, what the hell did they do to him? They fucking gave him a sedative or something? Like, what's going on?
It's the Red Hulk. That's what it was.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm probably nitpicking it. Just like they're turning all these games into like RPG-esque sort of bullshit. I don't know.
I can't argue with you, man.
Just like Gotham Knights. What a fucking trash ass game compared to the Arkham series. Fucking disgusting. Turns my guts. That game is dog shit in my personal opinion. I can't even fucking play that shit. The only good thing about it is a co-op. But like, how did that even come from the series that made Arkham City games? It's not even like, doesn't even feel the same.
So I guess you're not looking forward to Suicide Squad?
Oh fuck no, that game can go fucking eat a dick. Can you tell I've been away for a couple of weeks? I'm super vulgar tonight. I feel very angry with gaming. I don't know. The whole entertainment industry is pissing me off lately.
Yeah, I don't know how the show runs, but I know I'm eliciting that out of you. So, oh well. Yeah.
Well, this show is kind of like Gaming After Dark. It's very similar. Not a lot has changed. So, but anyway, just my opinions, guys. Sorry if I pissed anyone off who's big fans of Gotham Knights and all that shit, but not my bag of tea.
Sir X-Man doesn't mind you pissing. He likes those golden showers. So.
Anyway, let's move on to the next category, shall we? Let's speed her up a little bit here. Let's move over to the what was that one? The best action adventure. So let's move to best action game now.
What the fuck is the difference between the two? Can you please, explain?
That's why we're going to do this, just to figure out. Now, totally different criterion here. Now we got Armored Core, Fires of Rubicon, Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, and Remnant 2. So I guess these are action, but they don't have the adventure part, I guess.
Remnant 2 doesn't have
adventure? Are these all like really lit? I haven't played any of these. I suck. Are they very linear? Is that the difference?
These are a little bit more linear than the other ones, absolutely. I mean, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush would be my pick from this series. I thought that game was very well done, by the way.
So maybe the adventure means you won't roam around more then? That's the adventure?
That can't be it, because Resident Evil 4 was nominated in the prior category, and that's a straight linear game.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
That's true.
I mean, what is the difference? We had this on
I'm at a loss.
we were talking about this same fucking thing on our podcast last week. We're like, what the fuck? What is the what how? Where?
You kind of just go like, did you guys think this shit through, or are you just trying to nominate as many games as possible to not show your biasisms here?
Yeah, I'm confused.
Remnant 2 would be my vote.
Yeah, we can't have an own sports category or an own racing category, but we can have basically the same category we just did, add the adventure part, and then pick a whole new list of games.
So maybe it's like A tier action is action adventure, B tier action is just action. I guess that's what it is. I don't know.
Yeah, could be. Not a bad theory. I mean, from what I know of these games, it would probably be Dead Island 2 or Remnant 2. Would probably the ones that would most appeal to me. I like I say, I'll play them eventually. I just have too many games to play, not enough time.
Armored Core is kind of funny that it got nominated. It is so hyper mech focused that it's not really action. It's more, in my opinion, it's like a how to describe it. You make a robot. You go and fight the robot with another robot. The fight works, great. You move on to the next fight. If the fight doesn't work, you go back, tinker with your robot, and go fight that same guy again. So
doesn't sound like a whole lot of action.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, how did that game fucking
Two
make
Pad
it here?
Stack summed it up for me, and that's the reason why I won't touch that game with a 10-foot pole. Two Souls, like it's from Software. That's all you had to say.
Yeah. The only one that I would say is a true, well, the only two games that are true action adventure, action games here are probably, I've not played Ghost Runner 2, so I don't know. Probably Hi-Fi Rush and Remnant 2. And of the two, even though Hi-Fi Rush was great, I would have to tip my hat towards Remnant 2. It's just, I just like it a little bit better. So
I would have liked to vote for Dead Island 2 because I liked the first couple of games, and but I didn't get a chance to play this one yet. Again, there's been too many games this year, and I don't have enough time, and the budget is not big enough to play them all. But at some point, I hope to get Dead Island 2, and I did play Hi-Fi Rush, and that was quite good actually. So, yeah.
But you know, Hi-Fi Rush came off more to me like a rhythm game more than anything else. Yes, they did have action components in it, but it was action geared with a rhythm, and so I always thought of it more like a rhythm game. So, but it was a good game though.
All right, let's see. That's next one. Best mobile and best debut. Which one you want to do? Best debut indie, best ongoing games for impact.
Let's talk about the ongoing, if you don't mind.
Best ongoing. Let's see what they got here, guys.
Because this one, I think, is another one where Xbox got snubbed. But
all right, so best ongoing, you got Apex Legends back for what? Its fourth year in a row. Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy 14, which won last year, if my memory serves correct. Fortnite and Genshin Impact. I think almost every one of these was nominated last year except for Cyberpunk.
Yeah, and why is it there? It's not a live service game of any kind, right? Like,
right.
No, not at all.
Am I crazy?
Let's make up for all of the lambashing we did with these guys and put them in there because they added some DLC and improved gameplay.
Yeah, so put that in action. You know, that's what I'm
saying. Right? Yeah, why is it
exactly
ongoing? It's not a live service game, like you said.
Yeah, just because they released a DLC for it that, revamped the game 2 or 3 years later. It doesn't make it an ongoing game. It's not. This is the last update it's going to get, and then it's done. Like, it doesn't make any sense, right? And, for the risk of being that guy, why isn't Halo in here?
That's what I was
going to say.
That game
is an awesome state right now.
Yeah, like, they upgraded so much, right? They made that game, the multiplayer portion, very good.
Yeah, there's no Halo. That's ongoing. They've had numerous modes. It's a technically live service. At least a live portion. There's a few other games, but I mean, obviously, do not nominate a fucking Xbox game, period. Do not put a Forza Motorsport or Horizon game in here. Do not put Sea of Thieves in here, which is one of the most popular ongoing games.
So
no kidding. Millions of players. Doesn't make sense. Right. And don't get me wrong. I love Cyberpunk. Like, I can't
Halo,
wait to
Rocket
play
League. There's another ongoing game that has massive Rocket League, Fall Guys. There's a ton of games, but why is it these guys?
Grounded.
Yeah, Grounded even.
Grounded?
Yeah, and you also have that with Party Animals as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like, there's
that was
so many
nominated
games
for multiplayer game. Yeah.
that could be in here.
Game.
Cyberpunk makes no sense.
Yeah, Cyberpunk definitely is the one that sticks out in this category. Is like, what the fuck is it doing in here?
Yeah, and like I say, don't get me wrong. Can't wait to play Phantom Liberty. I will get it eventually. I'm just waiting for the price to be on. I'm waiting for it to be on sale. That's just kind of how
I think X-Man or Iceman is definitely onto our next topic right away because every time we're talking here, it almost sounds pretty obvious, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, but I have to disagree on that. But anyhow, we'll go.
All right, well, we'll get into it. Don't worry, we'll save that for a bit here, but. Yeah, I'd have to go with Fortnite in this category simply because I do play Fortnite and have a blast. I never thought in a million years I would say that, but thanks to my buddy Seamus, he got me into the game. And the fact that they came up with the no building, I would never play this if it was if they hadn't did the no build mode, I would not play Fortnite. There's nothing more frustrating to me than going to shoot a guy and he builds a castle in 3 seconds. And then you got to blow up his castle so he can just basically fall to the ground and shoot you, right? It's bullshit, but anyway, I couldn't get into that mode. So until he changed it, then I could, and it's actually not too bad. So
I would have to tip my hat towards Final Fantasy 14. I'm a big World of Warcraft fan, and that game is also exactly like World of Warcraft. So that's where my personal bias goes towards.
Cyberpunk all the way for me. So.
Well, I would vote for Cyberpunk, but it's not an ongoing fucking game.
Exactly. I'm joking. I would, I haven't tried Fortnite with the non-build mode. That might be something I'd get into. I'd probably lean towards that. I played it before, but like Noof said, I found it incredibly irritating when you got some guy on the ropes and then suddenly he's building a fortress in front of you no thanks.
All right,
but
let's just go.
Mode,
let's go quickly to the best indie game because this is a category that probably sometimes does not get enough love. But it's a category that's growing immensely, and we've had some real gems from the indie categories over the last few years. And here are the nominees: Cocoon, Dredge, Pizza Tower, Venba, and Viewfinder. And I have to say, I'm a fraud. I have not played either one of these games, and all of these games look absolutely non-interesting to me. That's just me. So
yeah,
at least Pizza Tower sounds good, but I don't know. I'll leave it at that.
Could be tasty. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, let me say this. I've been getting more into indies now than in prior years because of the fact that, number one, they're short. I mean, I don't have the time to play a 40-hour fucking game constantly over and over again.
Yeah.
I want like a 5-10 hour get in, get out, be done with it in a week and a half. That also incorporates in my work schedule. Then on top of that, like I'm looking at this and I'm like, indies are what is really defining it. Like right now, if you look at all the AAA spaces, they're all making the same open world, pseudo open world, hyper realistic graphic bullshit. And these games are actually trying new gaming mechanics that actually are intriguing. And in this category, of course, they didn't pick some of the good ones, but the one I would pick of the ones that they had was Cocoon. Cocoon was very, very good. So yeah.
Obviously not based on the movie though, right?
No, definitely not. It's really weird. Like you play this world and you solve the puzzle in the world, and then you pick up this orb and then you get sucked into that orb that is its own world, and it's a world within a world within a world, and it's a very intriguing premise, and it's a really good game. And I think I know they didn't do a really good job showing the screen, but if you ever have a chance and want to just try something that's a good 5-hour, 6-hour romp, I would highly recommend it. So
cool.
Like yeah, I've heard good things about that one too. So
I'm nil on this category, but let's just move along. The rest are kind of like music, art direction, stuff like that. So we're not gonna get into that. I will scroll on down, I guess. Let's just go. We'll go with two more categories: best game direction and then game of the year. So best game direction. Here are your nominees: Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. What do you guys think will take this one?
Of the ones, well, who do I think will take it? That's a tough question. The problem is I haven't played 3 of them, right? So I don't really know what the voice acting and stuff is like in them. But of the ones I've played, I prefer Alan Wake I'd go with Alan Wake over Spider-Man, but maybe that's just me. Who I think will win, like I say, it'd probably be Baldur's Gate. I just think they're gonna win a lot of stuff for it. I mean, when you have other developers complaining about it being too good at launch, you're doing something right. So that'd be my guess.
Well, okay. I don't know anything about Alan Wake's 2, but let's say something about all of these games in this category. They're either a reimagining or an iteration of their prior game. Alan Wake 2 is an iteration of Alan Wake. Spider-Man 2 is an iteration of Spider-Man. Mario is an iteration of its prior self. And Zelda, of course, is an iteration of Zelda.
Alan Wake 2 is very different than Alan Wake 1 in the way it plays.
So I can't say because, as I said, I don't know anything about it.
If you go into it thinking you're going to play Alan Wake 1, you might be disappointed because it's not like that.
Okay, so of the ones I can speak for, Baldur's Gate is a lot like Divinity Original Sins, like their original game. It's just more in the D&D world. Spider-Man 2 is just more Spider-Man. Zelda is more literally the same map plus more Zelda.
Yeah.
And so when you're talking about direction, I like talking about maybe games that shy away from their normal things. There's a lot of new concepts in Super Mario Wonder that I think just really not only invigorate the Mario franchise, but invigorate the platformer franchise in general.
Okay.
I think there's a lot that they've put into this game, and no 2 levels in the entire game are the same. That is a fucking big deal for me. Like, I mean, you remember the original Super Mario, they were all at the same level, right? You change the background or something, but it's the same fucking level. These are all different levels. So I know. While I agree with you, Mental, I know that most likely Baldur's Gate 3 is going to take it, but to go in and change that direction to not only just change your own franchise, but change the genre as a whole, I would have to give it to Super Mario Wonder.
Yeah, I don't have a horse in this. Well, I have played Spider-Man too, but like I don't think it'll necessarily win. I think Spider-Man's an amazing game, but it kind of really follows, the same template, I guess, as the first couple of games. So it's not like they really went on a limb and changed a whole lot. They just made it better, which is not a bad thing. I mean, it's an amazing game in its own right. But I mean, I think when you look at the art style, when you look at the scripting and the story writing and stuff of Alan Wake, it would probably be a strong contender here. Again, probably Baldur's Gate 3. And like Wize said, Super Mario Brothers is Wonder is doing a lot of new stuff with essentially an old franchise. And, it's gotten a lot of acclaim, and that might certainly take it as well. I think Legend of Zelda, again, is much like Spider-Man. It treads too much familiar territory, but who the hell knows?
The one game that should be here that would win this, bar none, in my opinion, is Starfield. Like, if you want a game direction, what more? They got systems. Okay, go and do space battles. That's its own fucking game. Go build your base. That's its own fucking game. Go build your shuttle or your ship. That's its own fucking game. Go walk around the planets and scan things. That's its own fucking game. Go be a goddamn asshole and invade people's ships or invade people's bases. That's its own fucking game. Then on top of that, they put a fucking whole Skyrim or Bethesda game on top of that shit. So if you what more do you want in a game that checks off all the fucking boxes? Okay, so where is it?
Yeah.
This is
well, once again, the fact that Starfield, I mean, it's one thing not to get, say, your game of the year, but the fact it was snubbed in almost every single category kind of makes you go, what the hell is going on? But
there's a lot of good in that game. Right down to the music
certainly was
really good in that game.
Certainly was. It's funny because if you look at other Bethesda games, they've always been nominated in various categories. Go back and prove me wrong if I'm not wrong, but most of the other Bethesda games have always gotten some sort of nomination somewhere. And
Fallout
Starfield
4 was
is
critically acclaimed, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
now they'd be paying that tax.
Yeah. Death Stranding 2 is more likely to get a friggin' nomination that's not even out yet than Starfield. You know what I mean?
Nomination. Death Stranding 2, if Keeley allowed
it's probably Game of the Year already. It hasn't even come out.
No, I mean, let's go to RPG if you don't mind. Do we have time to do one more category?
Yeah, we'll do RPG and then we'll come back to Game of the Year. Sure.
Yeah, cool.
All right, let's go to the best RPG, guys. So let's see, where are we at here? Best RPG. Okay, here we go. Best RPG. This is oh yes, it did get a nomination here. My apologies for that. So it is nominated. So here's your nominations: Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Lies of P, Sea of Stars, and Starfield.
The token nomination in my mind, because as if it's going to win against Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate's up for Game of the Year. By default, any game up for Game of the Year is better than one that wasn't.
Right.
As if it can win this.
But none of these other games are in the Game of the Year category, so by default they should give this to Starfield, Like in the sense that like Baldur's Gate 3, none of these other games besides Baldur's Gate 3 is in the Game of the Year nomination. So they should not even
but it's an RPG, right?
But it's weird. Sea of Stars didn't get voted as indie, right? So, and here it is in the it's in the RPG category, Game of the Year, but it didn't get nominated for best indie. It's kind of weird how that works.
Yeah, like there's it would be incredibly ridiculous for Starfield to win this category when it's up against Baldur's Gate that's up for Game of the Year. Like it wouldn't make any sense at all. You do that and you just look like idiots.
But they can't,
if it's good enough to beat Baldur's Gate at its own game, why is it not up for Game of the Year?
But
right?
Okay, so so here's a question: what if it does sweep all of that? Then, like, let's be honest. As we were talking about earlier on in this show, right? This is not a real serious Game Awards show, right? It's not like like people are looking at this industry wide. It's just there to do something in between the ads. And
aren't most of the winners voted on by the public as opposed to say, like the people that organize the show? They come up with the nominations. They must vote on that, but then it's the users like us that vote on the
Yeah.
games.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
I guess there's a possibility, but it just
Yeah.
seems completely ridiculous to me. Like,
Well, the way they run the show is completely ridiculous. That's the
Yeah.
point, you know.
yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway,
All right, last category, guys. Let's get down to the big ones. The one that it's like the Olympics. No one remembers who comes in second. Well, most people don't remember who the runners-up are for Game of the Year, but they damn well remember who's the one who claims the big prize, because that's where all of the bragging rights go. That's the one that is, the generational leap. That is the one that puts a console and a platform on the map. That GOTY. And here's your nominees. We got Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Now, I will say this much. This might be one of the most stacked nominations for Game of the Year that I can recall in recent history.
No fucking
some
way.
years there isn't some years there's clear-cut winners. This one is going to be a little tougher, I think. But I have this weird feeling it's either going to go to Tears of the Kingdom or it's going to Baldur's Gate. That's my thoughts.
Okay, so first of all, there's no fucking reason Resident Evil 4 should be there. Okay.
I agree.
I mean, that's like, let's act as if it's not even there. I can't speak on Alan Wake 2 because I've not played it and I'm not here to say good or bad about it. But from what I've read, and not read, nobody reads anymore. From what I've seen of the game, it looks phenomenal. And once I sort of things sort of calm down from me financially, I will buy it. Now, Tears of the Kingdom will not win it because Tears of the Kingdom, even though it is a good game, has everyone, Nintendo fanboys included, saying that while it is good, it is not genre defying as the original Breath of the Wild. Because what you guys don't understand is there is a game in here that is genre defying, and as Mental said earlier, if other developers, not some indie developers. We're talking about if other AAA developers are coming out and complaining about another developer being too good at their craft, then that's some stuff. Baldur's Gate 3 is that game. It is mind-blowing how good it is. I used to come from those old pencil and paper D&D games. This is about as faithful of a recreation as you can get to that. The good thing about the beauty of those D&D tabletop games were things changed on the fly. It was all based on the dungeon master and his fucking whims. If tomorrow morning the dungeon master wanted you to fight a fucking gorilla with a unicorn head, he could make you do that. And you could do whatever. You could literally fuck that gorilla with a unicorn head and make him make it your wife or something. And you can do all that crap here in Baldur's Gate 3. And the amount of the ability to just do whatever the heck you want to do and then are allowed to do it. There is nothing that comes close at all in the rest of these games to that. And I'm a huge Nintendo fan, so yeah, for me to say that, yeah, there's things that I'm doing in Baldur's Gate 3 right now that I'm like, how in the fuck is this even feasible? How in the fuck is this even possible? It's that good of a game. So.
yeah, I might have to try it one day. I mean, I keep hearing how fantastic it is, right? And you're just piling on that topic. So, yeah, one day I may have to give it a try. I don't think it's my style of game. That's why I haven't gone into it. But when you have other developers literally almost whining about the fact it's so perfect at launch, where there's just no bugs, there's no issues, you're not seeing graphical glitches and things like that, that's saying something. There's some polish there that is just not seen these days and has been missing. Now, I guess the unfair advantage to that is it was in what is it, preview
access
mode for early access for what, like 3 years or something. So it better be polished by the time it hits full release, much like Grounded, right? It came out and it was in great shape after being in preview for, what was it, 2 years? Maybe that's an unfair advantage. I don't know. but it's definitely. I mean, there's people arguing it shouldn't even
Yeah.
be in here because it's been out for 3 years.
Yeah.
Right? Why?
That could also be argued too. But another thing, let's all these other games are victim of trying to bring in other games into their own game. Let me explain. Let's take, for example, Spider-Man 2, right? Now, it's not just an action game. It has RPG elements. It has an open world element. It has, some crafting or whatever elements, stuff like that. Same thing with Super Mario Wonder with badges and stuff. They're doing things that are making you go above and beyond just playing a platformer. It's not strictly a platformer. It does have more developmental things and stuff like that. Same thing with Legend of Zelda. It's an open world, but it has RPG elements, has crafting elements, etc. Baldur's Gate 3 didn't do that. That's what I'm trying to make you understand. Baldur's Gate 3 just basically said, we're going to make a over the shoulder, not over the shoulder, but top down isometric
With a
RPG.
shoulder boulder holder.
Yeah, as back in the day, and that's all it's going to be. Is going to be. We're not going to incorporate action elements, quick time events, none of that bullshit. We're not going to do a crafting mechanic like building a whatever. We're just going to make the best effing RPG we can make, and they pulled it off. And in a day and age where all these games are trying to be a little bit of everything, it's refreshing to play a game that's bucking all of that, and that there's nothing more to be said about that. So yeah.
Well, like I said, I like a lot of the games that are on this, even though I have zero interest in playing Baldur's Gate 3. I've never even played any of the previous Baldur's Gate. I have played Spider-Man 2 to some degree, but I need to get back to it. Resident Evil 4, I played the original. I have not played the remaster. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Honestly, Breath of the Wild turned me off of ever playing the second game, so it's a no-go for me there. Super Mario Brothers Wonder, probably. I've liked every single Super Mario's game that's ever come out for the most part, so I can't see how I wouldn't like this one. I think, like I said, I think Baldur's Gate's probably going to win the Game of the Year here, but my personal favorites at this point in time would be Spider-Man 2. And is it safe to say, guys, well, just before I can finish, let's give a shout out to the chat. We got some amazing people here. Iceman LMH is hanging out with us here right now. Jesse Darby's in the building. I see my good friend Ryan Galloway's in the house. Two Pad Stacks still with us. Splendiferous is here as well. We got Sir X-Man hanging out with us. Talos Ray is in the building. Timothy Dixon. Doggy Dog is in the house. What's going on, brother Doggy Dog? I saw Royal Boyle here earlier tonight. That's good to see him here. The list goes on. We got a lot of great people here in the house tonight. Thank you so much for your love and support. Jason Max still hanging out with us as well. And the list goes on. We have a super chat as well. Let's get to that real quick. Splendiferous comes in hot and heavy with $2. Go ahead, Mental.
I want Xbox to do what Sony. I want Xbox to do to. Oh, I missed a 2. That's why. I want Xbox to do to Sony what Sony did to Sega. So bury them, put them under. Yeah, I don't know how good that would be for the game industry. Personally, I think.
I don't want to bury anybody.
I get that sentiment, but at the same time, I think that would probably be a bad move for the game industry as a whole. We need competition. We need strong competition.
I want all these cunts to make millions and billions of dollars on our backs. And
they're already doing that.
Yeah, and they're all doing well. They're all firing on all 12 cylinders. I want them all to be doing exceptionally well because those motherfuckers, those cunts will then compete and we will get the best out of them. Otherwise, it's basically it's a one-man show and you don't want that.
Yeah, yeah.
No. They're already taking liberties with the price tags and stuff right now, and that's something that needs to be kept in check because things are getting astronomical. And that GTA guy or the head of Rockstar is saying that they should start charging because their games are longer. I don't agree with that at all. I think that's horseshit, and I hope that if that's what happens, if we're going to start paying $20 or $30 more for a Rockstar game because there's 120 hours of gameplay or 300 hours, I think that's horseshit. These guys are making their money back hand over fist. They're making tons off of DLC and overpriced content. So I'm sorry, guys, but you get a big nay from me on that. And if you start pulling that shit, I hope the fans speak up against it, but they won't. They'll buy into it because honestly, the Fortnite community buys fucking skins like they're going out of style, and those things are grossly overpriced. and they're selling them like said like it was that like trying to sell air to a friggin' astronaut. You know what I mean? It's just stupid. So people won't. They'll pay it because they just want to play it. So yeah,
How much are you
we're
paying? How much are you paying for games there in Canada now?
our average is $90.
$90
$90 before
Yeah.
taxes. That's the average game price now.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yes.
Dude, that's
So from
but there is a precedent for that, though. Hold on, before we move on, you said there is a precedent for a company charging extra for their games just because it's their game. Nintendo's done it. You know, everyone else like Sony or Microsoft said, "Oh yeah, we got to go up on the price because these games are more powerful. They require more stuff." Nintendo released Tears of the Kingdom with a $10 higher tax. Why? Because they can. It wasn't in a higher. It wasn't like it was more technologically advanced or graphically impressive or whatever. It was because it was Nintendo. So there is a precedent for companies doing that. So don't be surprised if Rockstar does it and pulls it off.
Well, they're already charging $10 more for the current generation of games. So okay, fine, that's whatever. $10 is $10. Games go up just like everything's going up. But I mean, if they start getting like I'm talking about, like get astronomically stupid, like Sony did with the recent price hike of PlayStation Plus services, where it wasn't just an increase, it was like wow, like I slapped you upside the head increase, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Like gradual stuff or incremental stuff is one thing, but if you're gonna start being like, well, all of a sudden we think our game should be, 3 or 4 times the price because there's 3 or 4 times the content. I mean, a lot of movie theaters start doing that. Well, a 2.5 hour movie is now twice the money because you got to spend an extra 40 minutes sitting your ass in a bucket to watch the movie. Like people would be out in droves, and like I said, we all as gamers got to draw the line in the sand somewhere with these companies, or we're going to keep getting taken to the bank. And that's the sad part about it. So,
but you see, the problem is you're a dinosaur. They don't care about you or me or mental at all. They care about my little boy who's across the hallway playing and clicking away a $5 skin here and a $5 skin there.
And doesn't know any better.
Who doesn't know any better? Though they are looking at them because let's be honest, 20, 30 years, we're too archaic. We have a shelf life. Those kids, they're kids. They're just coming in, and they have a whole lifetime ahead of them that they can nickel and dime them till oblivion.
Yeah. So before we move away from the Game Awards and get into the final topic, because we are starting to push the envelope on our time schedule here. Is the elephant in the room essentially, though, for the Game Awards, more so than the Starfield, because it did get a nomination, but I think the one that was left out here, and all of us would agree, and it seems like the chat would agree, that the Hogwarts legacy getting totally annihilated here is one of the biggest crimes of the year. Now, is that partially because we see this in every industry, and especially with the games industry, that stuff that comes out in the first quarter of the year always seems to get pushed aside, literally, because I mean, technically, Hogwarts was supposed to be a 2022 game, right? If all had went as planned, that game should have been out last year, but they did push it this year, and they were better off for it because the game came out and it looked phenomenal. It ran relatively well. I didn't hear a whole lot of talk about bugs. Actually, the biggest conversation overall was 2 things. It was a great game and people that bought it enjoyed it, and then there was the other side of the community, those left field anal bumholes that were pissed off because it was a J.K. Rowling property and people were buying it. Well, I'm sorry, you can go stick your head in the sand and go crawl up another asshole because your stuff is just bullshit. You can't judge a piece of content she had nothing to do with just over crap you don't agree with. And some silly ass statements she made too. Like, oh my God, seriously.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I think it was a political snub more than anything.
Yeah,
the game itself,
they were afraid to take
thoroughly
the heat,
enjoyed it. Yeah. I know. I think they were. I mean, it's unfair to the developers that poured their heart and soul into that game and made a really good game. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm not a Harry Potter fan at all. I think I watched the first movie. That's it. I don't read the books. I haven't watched any of the other movies. Don't really care if I ever do.
And that was the beauty of the game. Yeah, that was the beauty of the game, is you didn't have to even be a fan of the movies to enjoy the actual game itself. It was a fun game on its own, and it could have been just called Wizard's World, and it would have been a damn good game.
Yeah, exactly. And then would it be nominated? Probably, right?
Right.
I mean, it sold well. It had a huge fan base. man, I'm not sure how many hours I put into it. I have to go look, but I definitely put in a good chunk of time in that game. And yeah, it was fun. I played it right through to the end. Enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah,
Can I
and there
can
you
I
go too,
comment on
right?
this?
Diablo 4 doesn't get Game of the Year nominations
Yeah,
yet.
because Diablo.
It is a brand new game, unlike Resident Evil 4, which, like I said, gets a lot of nominations. And not to take away from Resident Evil 4, it's an amazing remake. I mean,
I
Capcom's been
loved it.
killing it with the remakes, and that's not the question in hand. It's just like, should I guess we've been saying this for the last couple of years? Should remakes and remasters get nominated for Game of the Year? Because one of the best remakes and remasters ever was Gears of War Ultimate Edition, and I don't remember that getting put up for Game of the Year. And they did
Yeah.
everything right with that game. Guess what? Gears of War back in 2006 got nominated for many Games of the Year conversations. But Gears of War Ultimate came out with better graphics, better gameplay, better multiplayer, more content. You name it, it had it, and didn't
Yeah,
get
new
fucking
levels.
nominations.
Hmm.
So you figure that one out. Because it's Gears of War, I guess, and it's associated with Xbox. And yeah, and who cares shit if it's Xbox, right?
Sounds like we've moved into the Xbox tax talk.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
let
and
me
that's where
also
we're
say.
going.
Well, let me also say this, and this is also going to pivot into the Xbox tax one situation as well. You got to understand the people who are actually picking the nominees that we have to choose from to vote are these really weird left wing, not left wing, but like these guys from California who are the gaming media who are not that are separate than the actual gamers and the people who are talking about these games on YouTube. Yeah, I know they have a YouTube presence, but most of those guys think a little bit differently, and they for them, they don't put as much emphasis, I think, on these awards as we do as gamers. Because for us, this is our Oscars, if you will. To those
Mm-hmm.
guys, it's just, okay, well, whatever. It's just something to pay the bills. Oh, we need Game of the Years. Okay, well, let's see. What was, yeah, we got to have Baldur's Gate. Resident Evil 4 was pretty good. Yeah, let's go ahead and put it out in there. Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom. Super Mario Wonder just came out. Let's put that. Spider-Man 2, of course. And there you go. There's your list. And that's what they do. They don't think about all of the games. They don't take into consideration all of the, like all the games that did garner all this success or critical discussion that we do. They just pick the top 5 or 6 that come off of their top of their head. So I don't think, as we said, they don't take the games awards seriously. So why in the fuck should we take it seriously? That's the whole thing.
Well, most of us really don't. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't lose any fucking sleep over this. The
Right.
Game Awards do not dictate what I spend my money on. I mean, all these games that are up on the screen right now, like I'm not going to go out and buy them more because they got nominated. Like I know what I like and what I don't like, and that's not going to change. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, it's a topic of conversation. These are fun things to talk about on shows like this, and many other podcasts are doing the same thing. But when nobody's going to lose sleep over this crap, and I'm still going to spend my money where I want to spend my money, and I'm going to buy what I like. And a nomination is not going to validate my purchase. All at the end of the day, it comes down to, and it's been this way for a while, becomes bragging right for PlayStation owners, and primarily to say that they are the home to the biggest and best games, the highest rating Metacritic games, the Game of the Year games. And then for us Xbox guys, well, it becomes another cry on the shoulder because our games didn't get nominated. We got no Game of the Year stuff, and they can't build a good game to save their soul. And they can't buy a company to make a good game to save their soul. And let's segue into the Xbox tax. And the first one that comes up, I mean, it's kind of mysteriously weird. Okay, look, Call of Duty games, right? They've always been solid. They haven't never been groundbreaking. They haven't been groundbreaking for a while. And that's partly because of the fact that Activision's been pushing them out faster than than a welfare chick pushes out babies, right? So, so, but you know what I'm talking about here, like that's part of the problem. They and this is the question we've been saying for a few years now that Xbox has sort of got the reins. Should they let Call of Duty settle for a bit now? Not put pressure on those developers to pump one out annually, is to make a bigger, better game. Actually spend time making a world-class campaign and really going all out on the multiplayer, or keep pumping them out like they're doing. But when was the last time a Call of Duty scored this miraculously low? Now, is it as good as Modern Warfare 1 or 2? Look, I have the game and I've played it. I can tell you the multiplayer is solid as ever, probably one of the best ever. But how does a game score like 60s, 50s, 40s when it does everything the other games have done almost equally as well, but apparently it's like to me a 47 Metacritic or whatever the hell it's coming up as is absolute garbage. Like that's a dog shit game, and it's anything but dog shit. But how is it just maybe it's just coincidental? But the fact that now Microsoft is got the association with the franchise, I mean, and not officially, because yeah, they've got them under their umbrella now, but they haven't really officially published a game until probably the next one comes out or whatever. But now all of a sudden it's under the Microsoft umbrella, so Call of Duty is irrelevant and it's shit and it's washed up and it's no good. You see that? Like, is it just fucking coincidental? Because all the stuff we talked about tonight, and Iceman said it in the chat, it's really funny that Xbox gets shut out on almost all the categories. The only thing they're even brave enough to vote Xbox on is a racing game. It's always the racing games because there's no denying that the racing games are at the upper echelon. But see, the thing is, nobody cares about a racing game. Until racing game gets game of the year, no one's ever going to care because it's a racing game. It's a niche category. It's only for so many people that like it. That's why, like, Forza Horizon games can get 9.5s and 9.8s. Guess what? They win the racing categories, but they never win game of the year because it's a racing game. You see what I'm saying? They're not afraid to vote for the racing game because they know nobody's going to sit there and lose sleep over the fact the racing game scored well. They're like, oh, well, Forza's really good. Cool. But that's where it ends. But you think Halo is ever going to win another game of the year or Gears of War game will ever get in that conversation? Probably not, because they're afraid to fucking give that nomination because an Xbox game might actually sell even better if it gets pushed. I don't know, just saying. I think the tax is real, but I digress. I've been through this crap enough times now that, like I said, you can't change my mind on it. I think there's an obvious bias in the industry, and they play it to their strengths because right now, that's the only thing keeping their dying media channels alive is the constant rag and shitting on Xbox properties. It's plain and fucking simple. Larry Herb said it, and we know it. And I think Phil Spencer knows down too. Like, doesn't matter how good a game they make. Starfield could have come out absolutely flawless and still probably wouldn't be in this conversation. Because, again, it's got the Xbox stink associated, the Xbox association with it, the brand, and that's where it's going to sit. So just get used to it because we're going to be in for many more years of the same crap.
Well, let me ask you a question. When was the last time a commercial success movie, like an MCU movie or anything like that, won best movie of the year from the Oscars? I think the last time I remember something like that happening was in The Lord of the Rings. Apart from that, even after that, I don't remember the award that won movie of the year was the most commercially successful one. And my point being is that, okay, these games that you see here are, again, being voted on or nominated by these gaming journalists who are looking for they're looking for a learned experience. They're not looking for mindless fun. A lot of Xbox games are mindless fun. I know Starfield isn't, but a lot of them are. And so it's like comparing what they're saying is like, okay, that's like comparing, and this is not going to sound right, but it's like comparing going to a 5-star chef and comparing his food to another 5-star chef, and comparing that to a New York sliced pizza. I would take a New York sliced pizza over that 5-star chef shit any day. But is it ever going to get nominated for like these illustrious Michelin stars? No fucking way. And that's what I think it is. Is it an Xbox tax? No. I don't think it's an Xbox tax. It's just what this industry likes is that, frou-frou shit, and that's what it is. So, yeah.
Great point. How about you, Mental?
I've just been waiting patiently. I'll read a comment that I left on YouTube on Colt's channel last week at some point after their last show, not the one from yesterday, but the previous one. So it's about the Xbox tax because they were talking about it, and it's a little bit long. I'll try and go through it fairly quickly, but so Xbox tax, do I think it's real? Yes. Do I think that media outlets consciously play a game and then decide to lower the score because it was an Xbox game? No. I think it's something that happens subconsciously. They have their preferred platforms, whether it's PlayStation, Switch, PC, or a combination of thereof, and they get those games on those platforms tend to get forgiven for their sins during reviews, whereas Xbox games just don't. For an example, I'm going to go on a bit of a rant about Spider-Man because it's a game I played recently that was on PlayStation that happens to be nominated for Game of the Year, and I've put over 50 hours into it. Not one single review that I saw prior to that game and me playing it mentioned anything about the bugs, glitches, or crashing. Yet when I played it, I was impacted no less than a dozen times where I was forced to replay portions of missions because of a game crash, console crash, or a mission-breaking bug. How is it possible that these reviewers didn't have that happen even once? Frankly, I don't believe they didn't have issues. I just feel like they were unconsciously giving PlayStation/Insomniac mulligans because, well, it's PlayStation. Then there's the visual issues. Animations that don't work right or other glitches of that nature. Again, no mention of them. Seriously, tell me I'm wrong. Is it just that I got a version of the download that was broken? I actually thought that might be the case, so I deleted the game and reinstalled it, and unfortunately it didn't help. I think they just chose to ignore him because it's PlayStation, again, not on purpose, just consciously or subconsciously thinking about an issue and not really thinking much about it. They just go on. And I actually know people like that that are heavy PlayStation fanboys that I'll remind them about the bugs they ran into, and they go, oh yeah, I completely forgot about that. More on it on Spider-Man. Not one reviewer mentioned how bad the side story missions are. They're horrible. The phone app missions that you do in that game are so cringy. They're terrible. Even the main story had Peter whining and apologizing for the majority of the game. So much so, I found it refreshing when he actually was wearing the Venom suit and he turned a little bit evil. Then he was like badass and fun, right? Mm-hmm. Don't get me started on how ridiculous MJ's missions were. Mm-hmm. She's the most powerful character in the game. The only one that can one hit an alerted enemy. It's completely ridiculous, and it really diminishes the powers of both the other two Spider-Man superheroes.
Spider-Man comes in and a new cutscene's like, can I borrow that taser?
Exactly. Why aren't they equipping the same device, right? Because that's how stupid it is. So anyway, that's a lot of me being picky about that game.
Right.
But if I was reviewing it, I would be pointing out the fact that I had to replay hours of a game because of crashes and bugs. So for me, it's a 70-something. It was a decent game. I had fun with it. But if I really dig into it, it was far from a 90 in my mind, and it's far from a Game of the Year nomination. So anyway, that's what I think happens. The Xbox tax just means that they get held accountable for everything and don't get any mulligans. True. I guess the bright side of that is if an Xbox game gets a good score, it's a great game.
Let me ask you guys a question. How much do you think the Xbox tax is brought on by us as gamers? Let me explain. So say, for example, a game comes out, gets reviewed, whatever, and or comes out, and you know how Twitter is. The minute something glitches happens in Starfield, there's like 500 posts of it. And if something happens in Forza, there's 500 posts of it. Whereas and everyone makes a big deal out of it. You got PlayStation fanboys trying to criticize it. You got Xbox fanboys trying to defend it, and blah, blah, blah. Twitter's erupt with this shit, right? Now, a PlayStation game comes out with a little bit of bugs. Nobody says anything. It doesn't get the buzz or whatever. It doesn't blow up as big as the Xbox stuff does. Mm-hmm. Now, these people who are nominating these games, they don't live in bubbles. They see this shit on Twitter because they are themselves live on Twitter. So it also probably reverse feedbacks them as well. So when it comes time for nominations, they remember all the backlash, maybe a Starfield got or something, and they don't hear as much of a backlash from Spider-Man. So that's why they rate Spider-Man higher than Starfield. So how much do you think this Xbox tax that you're talking about is also brought on by us as gamers?
Yeah, some of it is blown out of proportion. It is perpetuated by us fans too. They're not all wrong. Sometimes the criticisms on Xbox games are definitely warranted. There's no question. We can't sit here and ignore that they don't have issues. We also can sit here and I've said it, and I already said, let's just take Forza Motorsport. This is the longest game that's been in development for a long time. Every other game came out within about 2 years of each other. They were releasing fairly frequently. And while I'm enjoying the new Forza Motorsport, I'm sitting here as a Forza fan saying I felt unimpressed. I didn't feel like I was blown away by this iteration of Forza Motorsport in the same way that Forza 7 had really grabbed me. You know, talk about all this tech and all this stuff behind it, and it's fine and dandy, but there's actually less content in the new Forza Motorsport than there was in number 7. You know, and if they're going to talk about AI and other different things, these are parts of the game that a lot of people just don't notice, right? And I'm sure that there's a lot of work put into it, but to me, it just still feels like this wasn't the game I expected it to be. Did I expect too much? I don't know. You other guys in this chat who's a Forza fans, you tell me, did this game feel like it was all that it was meant to be, or do you still feel a little bit let down? Like I felt a little bit let down with Starfield. But mind you, I'm going to defend and say that I'm not really a Bethesda fan to begin with. I've never really dug into any of their games, and the only one that grabbed me for the most part was Skyrim. And actually before that it was Oblivion. I actually enjoyed those 2 games the most of all of their games. I really didn't like Fallout. I couldn't stand Fallout 76. A lot of those games are just not my bag. So I wasn't expecting a lot out of Starfield, but I was willing to give it a try simply because it was a space odyssey and it looked really cool. And I'm not disappointed with it per se. It's a good game, but it wouldn't certainly win my game of the year. Certainly not my game of the generation. A lot of it to me, it feels like the engine is holding back, the kind of game it could have been, because they're still using the creation engine. And I think honestly, like a lot of the character graphics and animation look like absolute dog shit. And in this day and age when Naughty Dog constantly lifts the bar and raises the bar on character animation and stuff in their games, and everybody else is kind of like, what the fuck are these guys doing? Like, borrow some tech or get some better designers or something. I don't know. But anyway, I digress. Some of the criticism is warranted, and I definitely think that we play into the blown up stuff about it. But with saying that, we're also not naive enough to know that the media likes to take the ratings down just enough. They like to keep Xbox games high enough, it seems like, so that you can't say, well, that was a terrible score and it was blatantly obvious. But they like to keep them just below the bar of the 90 Metacritic scores, so that way they can go, well, it was good, but it's not up there with the PlayStation echelon, right?
So I'll add a little bit on to what I said. I do think that, to some extent, the Nintendos and PlayStations of the world have earned the odd mulligan here and there, because they've put out some really, really good, solid games. I think that's something that, Xbox probably has yet to do. There is some honest critiques. I mean, you guys know those that watch the show and Noof, that I'm a big Starfield fan. I put 150 hours into the game, and I'll be going back to it again, especially after the last patch. The performance on it increased dramatically on PC. Like it plays so much better. It's almost mind-blowing how they got 30% out of it that quickly is impressive. But I can tell you what it is too. It's largely CPU. CPU usage is vastly improved as to the distribution of the workload across the threads that are available. So this actually gives me hope. There could be a 60 FPS patch for it in the future. Originally, I didn't think so, but now that I, have played it a lot more and I've paid more attention to how it performs on PC, and seeing this latest patch, it's a big uplift, like a really big uplift. So you might, maybe you get that 60 FPS on console too. That's a possibility. But, I think that Xbox shoots themselves in the foot quite a bit. And, they pay for a bit of that in the reviews. They are held to task on everything that goes wrong. Whereas I just think the others get mulligans. Like my Spider-Man experience was not good. And yet I see Sony fans online on Twitter claiming they had 0 issues. They played through the whole game. If you played it at launch, there's no freaking way I believe that.
Well,
I had mine crash.
Look at the PlayStation Portal. I mean, it's getting high reviews for what? It's a streaming thing that does nothing. It's a freaking phone. You got one there, and it does nothing. You just stream on the toilet. That's all you do with it.
Yeah, but it works for me because in my house,
it's all good.
My wife watches the TV. I can sit next to her while she's watching TV and play Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, it's neat in that respect. But if you had to honestly rate it, how could you rate it high for it's not even a legitimate portable?
I wouldn't rate it. It's a controller with a screen. What is there to rate? It's a dual sense with a screen.
But guys are talking about it in reviews like it's the second coming of Christ over here. Like it was just like, no, like if they want to make a fucking Vita 2, improve it, and then give us that shit. You know, I'm tired of this streaming cloud fucking portables.
But it doesn't even do that. It doesn't even stream from their cloud.
No, it just streams off the PlayStation 5.
I mean, but there's nothing. But there's nothing here. It works for me in my house for what I need it for. It does
as long as you don't have Bluetooth headset, right?
Right. Well,
because they didn't include Bluetooth.
But you see, I'm not going to even like in this game, like Baldur's Gate 3.
The thing looks fucking ginormous. How do you even hold on to that thing? It looks like my hands would be like hold on to a basketball.
Yeah,
I'm being hard on it.
Man. Come on now.
Yeah.
Arthritis elbows by the time
have you seen my wife? That's why my hands are so big. I got.
Yeah, I'm giving it a hard time, but I mean, there are some shortcomings that I think for the price point it's at, they could have done a lot more with it.
Dude, you want to know a shortcoming?
That's the reality.
You want to know a shortcoming? So I tweeted this actually.
Okay.
I was watching TV with my wife. I had also this device on playing Baldur's Gate 3, and then I also turned on my Switch and started playing Super Mario Wonder, right? And going back and forth between Baldur's Gate 3 and Super Mario Wonder. But then when I went back to Baldur's Gate 3, the whole thing just was like laggy, like unplayably laggy. And then when I turned off my Switch, it went back to normal.
And you know why?
Probably because the Wi-Fi here is substandard. Yeah,
it's Wi-Fi 5.
Yeah, it's
I mean the Switch and it was competing for bandwidth.
At least, you know, it should have come with a 6E.
Yeah. And that's what bothers me about that thing is to go from 5 to 6 in terms of production cost is pennies.
Right.
It just doesn't cost that much for them. It's like a couple bucks for a different chip.
Right.
And the fact that it's missing Bluetooth, same thing. It's just being cheap. They're forcing you to go buy the headset they're building, or you're using a wire, you know. And I just find that kind of stuff bothers me. And then they pretend they're not making money on it.
But but this all comes from. This is what I believe. I believe that when Xbox pivoted from the 360 to what they did, and then they went into the one with the TV, and then all the internet crap that they were talking about, logging in and whatever. Even though all that shit came into fruition for all consoles, you know, eventually.
Yeah.
All that era for Xbox scarred Xbox so badly that it has left an unimpressionable dent in everyone's mind regarding Xbox.
It has. You're not wrong.
And I think that's what's affecting it, you know. And those biases, whether you want to admit it is a bias or not, is coming through in review scores and how much we highlight Xbox versus PlayStation. And so that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
So
I bought a little thing that clamps on. I bought a little thing that clamps onto my Xbox controller that holds my cell phone, and I can just play Game Pass through the cloud on there. It does the same bloody thing. I paid $25.
Yeah. No,
right?
Exactly.
I mean, it's cool. It's cool, and it's cool, and I'm not degrading anybody who went out and bought one. I can't justify the high price of that. If it was $120 Canadian, I might consider one. You know, just for the, you know, I want to sit in my bed at night instead of turning on the console and just chilling with a couple of games. I think great, but at the price it is right now, it's a no for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean they're talking about it's selling out, but we don't know how many units they produced in order for it to sell out.
We sold all 40 of them.
Exactly.
And remember, in Canada, it's not $200. It's $269.
Yeah, that's right.
Plus tax.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a fairly expensive. Yeah. Well, the thing that bothers me, by the time you buy that thing and then you go and buy the headset for it, you've just paid for a PlayStation Digital.
It's
$400.
Which of the new handhelds is actually has hard drive space you can play a game natively off it? Is the only one is the Steam Deck, right?
No.
Well, there's that and the Rogue Ally. There's a new Lenovo device.
So you can actually download a game to the device and play it natively, so you don't have to worry about latency.
Correct.
Yeah. See,
okay, that's a big factor, because that's going to be, when I drop that much money on something, it better be able to play games.
But you are going to be paying that much money for it. Like a good one is about $700.
Okay,
So
gotcha. Yeah.
yeah, 700 US. So it's probably what, like 800 Canadian, 800 something up
Yeah,
there.
I think
So
that the ROG Ally right now it's a couple $100 off for Black Friday special, but it's still going to come
yeah,
in over 600, I think. So
right, and
Yeah.
that's like for like a baser model. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, again, for
yeah,
like, do I think everyone should go and get it? No. Do I think it's might be a little bit overpriced for what it is? Yes. But is this something that works for me?
right.
Yes. So yeah, that's why I bought it. I mean, yeah, if
Yeah,
I was
no,
gonna,
fair enough,
yeah.
man. Nobody's giving you flack for going up and buying. It's
Yeah,
your money, and if it makes you happy, then the more power to you.
But then you
Yeah.
talked about rating it. That's like rating a DualSense controller. They released a Spider-Man DualSense controller. That's like give a rating for that. It's a freaking controller. Why the hell do you need a rating for it? It's a controller.
Right.
That's all it is.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
So yeah, that when I saw the review for it, I said that doesn't make any fucking sense. It's a controller. Why did y'all put a rating on
Right.
it? You know. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a controller slash
you know,
device, and I guess for what they're advertising it for, it has to work, and it has to work efficiently. And I guess if it does it 90% of the time, okay. But yeah,
what I find funny is the device does very little, right? It's a streaming only device that streams from a PS5 that you must already own, et cetera, et cetera.
And
And
only a
somehow it was
PS5 and
rated
nothing else fucking
higher.
on.
Yeah, exactly. And the game has to be installed on the PS5, no less, right? And we all know how much hard drive space they have by default, because we all have PS5s. But you know, the thing that I guess gets me is IGN rated it an 8. They gave
Yeah.
the Steam Deck a 7. The Steam Deck has built-in storage. It plays games locally. You can take it anywhere. You can even stream on the Steam Deck if you want to from your Steam library that's running on your PC if you want to mimic that model. There's all kinds of things you can do with it, right? And I don't know if they've rated the OLED version, the new version of it or not. I have no idea. But with the original review, it got a 7. It doesn't make any sense. It's a far more capable device than what you're holding there. Yes, it's more expensive by about, well, let's see, you can get a 64 gig Steam Deck now with the original
About
version for
$400.
$439 in Canada, which is, you know, fairly reasonable when you consider
Yeah,
its capabilities and what it offers. You know, and the fact that you can just throw another hard drive in it if you want to, and it's all user repairable. They have a complete parts store that you can buy stuff. So when your Joy-Cons go bad, you can buy new ones, and they just plug right in. You can buy all kinds of parts for the thing. Which, you know, try and do that with your PlayStation Portable or any other handheld for that matter. I mean, you can't do that with the Asus Rogue Ally. You can't do it with Lenovo as far as I'm aware. So, you know, Steam's doing something here that I think should be setting standards for the industry, to be perfectly honest. Like, user repairability needs to be a thing, even with our consoles, right? And right now, with the OG PlayStation and even with the current one, you know, they've soldered their NVMe chips right to the board. So unless you're real good and you got a BGA kit that can reball and do all those type of things, good luck fixing that. You got to send it away. And Xbox is no better. It's a replaceable hard drive in it. But guess what? There's an encrypted partition with a lock key on it that's married it to the motherboard. You put a different drive in it, it doesn't work. So, you know, that kind of stuff needs to stop.
Well,
I went on a completely different rant there.
No,
So.
but I can also answer your question as to why they gave this an 8 and they gave that other device a 7. When you go to IGN's website, how many Steam ads do you see versus how many PlayStation ads do you see?
Exactly.
Yeah, so that pretty much answers that question, you know. So probably PlayStation.
It's just the insanity of it, right? It doesn't make sense. And, you know, that's what we see with the Game Awards.
Sir X-Men wants to know what the battery life on that sucker.
X-Men, I'm getting about 4.5 hours-ish battery life playing, streaming, basically about.
There you go.
About 4.5 hours.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
To be honest, that's not bad. It's better than a Rogue.
Yeah, it's got an OLED screen too, right? So.
No, it's an LCD screen.
Oh, that's an LCD.
Yeah,
oh shit.
LCD.
Okay.
But it's a pretty bright.
I'm sure it's a pretty good one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good one. I mean,
most LCDs anyway look pretty good when they're reasonably small. That's a good thing. But yeah, OLEDs are definitely bright and poppy. I gotta like that. All right, so we're coming to the end of the show here. Great conversations tonight. Obviously, like I said, these conversations can sometimes go down the rabbit hole. There is really no right or wrong answer. Again, a lot of it's just opinionated.
Well,
but as Xbox fans, we've just grown very accustomed to a lot of backlash and a lot of garbage, and just it's just unfortunate because we care about the brand, and we just we certainly know that great reception and great ratings often turn into great sales. And again, it's about what do you call it? It's mind share, right? And when the Game Awards are largely PlayStation mindshare, it's a lot of advertising for the product. There's a lot of games that are always represented from that side, and it just kind of sucks sometimes that you just wish that the industry was a little more fair, was a little bit more alleviated to both. But it is what it is, and I don't know how that will change. I guess someday it'll probably change when Xbox owns half of the industry, and they got no other choice.
Well, let me ask you a question though. Okay, let's say in an alternate universe, if you will, Game of the Year nominations, you get rid of Resident Evil 4, and in that slot goes Starfield. Does it win your Game of the Year?
No, still wouldn't win mine.
Okay.
Might win Mentals.
It'd be close.
What is your Game of the Year? Who are you gonna give your Game of the Year to?
Man, I've played a lot of games this year that aren't in there, but Starfield, I loved it. Like, I had a great time with it. I'm not done with it. I'll be going back eventually. So it would be right in there probably. And we argued about whether or not RE4 should be in the Game of the Year, but man, I loved that game. I had a blast with it. So it would be tight between those two. Alan Wake's really good as well, but I don't know that I would give it my Game of the Year. I don't know. We'll see how it ends. I haven't finished it yet, right? So, there's more to be done there. But it's fun. Like, I mean, I don't get creeped out almost ever by anything, but it gave me chills a few times. So that says something about it. It's really well done. So.
Well, even if you did replace it, in my opinion, right, it wouldn't win my Game of the Year. Is it a good game? Yes. Is it a great game? For me, yes. I mean, the vistas that I see, it's like watching one of these documentaries on space. It's just that good.
It is, yeah.
But it would not win. It's still, despite how good it is, it still would not have won my Game of the Year. I mean,
you have to be willing to overlook the shortcomings. You've touched on some of them. The facial animations suck. Like there's a lot of datedness to it. The amount of loading screens sucks. Can they fix a lot of that? They could. Maybe I'm hoping they with this latest performance increase that was shocking. So maybe there's hope to get rid of some of those loading screens, or at least replace them with some kind of an animation. Right? Think of how much better received it would be if when you're getting into your ship, it just shows an animation of you climbing up the ladder, the hatch is opening, and you get into your ship, and the hatch closes, and then it fades back into first person or whatever view you're using, and you walk away. That would have kept that illusion of the immersion factor going versus fade to black, and then it comes back, right? So a lot of that stuff can be fixed with that type of a technique that I think would have alleviated a ton of the complaints that people have, right?
Well, I mean, I think that the game, for what it is a phenomenal game. I mean, I'm not saying anything taking away from the game. I mean, as I said, there's so many games within games and systems within subsystems that you can just get lost in this world. And there's something to be said about that. And maybe, like, this is just the future me prognosing this. I look at what Bethesda did with Skyrim. Skyrim is still, to this day, being played actively by, millions of people. Thousands of people, I don't know. But anyhow, so, and that was just one continent. This is an entire galaxy. So yeah,
who the fuck gives a shit about Cockfield and fucking Cockrim and fuck? Hey guys, what's going on? Eddie here. Holy shit! Would you guys stop fucking air breathing? Oh my god, I have been away for so long. I'm starting to get fucking gingivitis in my asshole. Like, come on, let's go. Eddie here. Hey, by the way, it's really good to finally meet you there, Mr. Wize Old Gamer. And all the people in the chat, you guys are freaking awesome. How's everybody doing? Game of the Year. Oh, God, I don't even know what the hell mine would be this year, honestly, but I'm going to have to say I'm probably going to give up a little bit to Probably Spider-Man, because I'm a sucker for a nice muscular man in a really tight fucking leotard swinging around. There's even two guys now. He's a Spider-Man, and then there's that Miles Morales kid. Yeah, it says double the trouble, twice the fun. Here I come. Come. So how's everyone doing? You guys got any questions for me? Because let me tell you, I am fired the fuck up.
Okay, Handy, I got a question for you. Who would you give the best ass award in gaming to?
Wow, I mean, it's got to be one of the original babes of gaming. I mean, Lara Croft's ass is amazing. You get to stare at it most of the time. And it certainly came a long ways from back to the PlayStation 2 era when her ass was a little bit kind of like square and she had the triangular boobs. But now she's a voluptuous. Want to spank it and tank it, baby.
Mental, you have any questions?
Oh, jeez. I'm surprised, Andy. Did Noof leave you at home while he went
Oh
off
my
to
god, I was
the East
home
Coast?
with four fucking cats. It was terrible. It was freaking terrible. I mean, I've been dying to get on a podcast for so long, and nobody sends me an invite. I mean, I'm open invitation, guys. I mean, I couldn't do a guest spot anywhere, but nobody asked me to be on their show. Like, am I not popular? Come on, guys. I'm sorry. I can't do 6 podcasts a week. Who the fuck do you think I am? I got things to do, and I gotta jerk myself off at least once in a while. I don't even think some of you guys jerk off anymore. You're always fucking podcasting, and you're always podcasting.
I got a question, Handy. I got a question. How does it feel when New fists your ass?
It was freaking amazing. Newman's got some big ass sausage fingers. That's kind of exciting. Yeah. By the way, Wize, you're looking pretty dapper, man. I haven't seen you around these parts in a long time, but I guess you're around your waist parts. That's the main thing.
All right, let's see. We're still waiting for some questions.
Yeah,
John,
but
do y'all have any questions?
Where the fuck? I thought you guys would have them loaded up by now. I mean, just like I write a book of questions for old Handy Andy here. I mean, fuck Hartle and Cletus and Safehouse prick nuts. I mean, fuck those guys. I mean, it's my show. I'm the originator, the masturbator, the emancipator. Yeah, let's go.
Okay, Handy Andy, Wonder Woman or Captain Marvel?
Oh my god, is that even a legitimate question? You fucking Wonder Woman all day, man. It's Gal Gadot. I mean, who wouldn't want to put their beef stick in that twat? That rhymed. It was cool. I mean, Captain Marvel, she's kind of cool, but Brie Larson, she's a little bit stuck up, and she's like constipated or something. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with her.
Okay. Jesse Darby says, sorry, he has a critique for you, sir. He says that you are not. He says, sorry, you have nothing on Cletus, Handy. Sorry. You want to comment on that?
Cletus, I mean, I love Cletus. He's cool, but man, he stinks. He smells really bad. He smells like piss, you know? Like, his bad breath. And he never makes sense any of the times. I gotta have some kind of like hillbilly dictionary to figure out what the hell he's talking about.
Well, that's some heavy slander. You got to remember, Handy, that Cletus is on this show sometimes too. He could come back at you on that one.
Well, you know, he could, but all I got to say to Cletus is that you can have a go at my sister. She's got big tits, and she's ugly as hell, but she got big tits, and that's all that keeps Cletus handy.
Hey, Handy, are you up for giving one of our chat members a little bit of advice?
Yeah, what kind of advice do you want? Who needs advice?
All right, it says, Dear Handy Andy, Mr. Iceman asks this. Dear Handy Andy, I have no time to game or jerk off. How would you recommend helping this guy, sir?
No time to game. No time. Have you got no arms? I mean, because seriously, some guys are talented. They can jerk off and actually game at the same time. I mean, one controller and one dong. You know, actually, back in the day, it was closest thing to that was Atari. It was one stick and one button.
Okay, we got another question, Andy. Hey, Andy, Halle Berry as Catwoman or the new bimbo that's the Batman? Which one do you like?
Halle Berry all day. She's sexy. She's hot. I mean, the movie kind of sucked, but she doesn't suck. Well, she might suck. I don't know. But yeah, Halle Berry's kind of cool. I liked her. She looked really cool in the outfit too. But my favorite Catwoman, I gotta say, like overall, is gonna be that The one from The Dark Knight. What the hell? Anne Hathaway. Oh, she's fine too. I want to have a threesome with those two.
Okay.
I'd definitely be leaning towards Halle Berry on that
Yeah,
one.
Halle
I'm not a
Berry's
Hathaway
really,
fan
really
at all.
sexy. That movie
So,
sucked, but
yeah.
at least she made it look good. Yes,
Okay.
Halle Berry.
I got a question. Okay, which game developer chick that you've seen would you like to bang?
Well, I mean, she just recently kind of went into game development, and she used to be the IGN chick. What the fuck's her name there now? The blonde one. God, help me out, guys. What's her name?
Jade Raymond? No.
No. She was on.
Naomi
She used to be.
Campbell?
She used to be on IGN, and now she's like part of Naughty Dog.
Okay.
Alana Pierce.
Alana.
Oh
Pierce,
my
Alana Pierce.
God.
Okay.
Alana Pierce is like the fucking goddess, man. Seriously. Honest to God.
Tell us what you would do with Alana Pierce and
Oh, Alana Pierce could make my teeth white, let me tell you.
And how would she make it white?
Oh, wouldn't you like to know? Oh, Alana, I'll give you my phone number. Call me up. I'm telling you, you can stuff it the puppet on this one, baby. Oh, what's your hand up my ass?
All right, we got another one. Okay, Sir X-Men needs some advice. He says he doesn't know who to take, Harley Quinn or She-Hulk.
Oh God, it's gotta be Harley Quinn. Who the hell wants a big green lady? If I wanted a big green lady, I'd just go down to the unemployment line office and get all those green, yellow, fucking vomity ass chicks. Ugh.
Okay, Splendiferous wants to know Laura Croft or Claire Redfield.
It's got to be Lara Croft because she can just totally kick ass in every situation. I mean, she fights dinosaurs, she fights like mercenaries, she fights like everything. Like, I don't know, Claire Redfield, she just spends too much time in claustrophobic houses fighting dead people. You know what I mean? So like, she's cool too. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, at the same time, I would definitely give a little edge to Lara Croft because she's been around a long time and she's probably been around too.
Okay, so
and she's rich. Don't forget, Lara Croft is also fucking stinking rich.
Okay, I'll put you on a yacht with Alana Pierce, Halle Berry, Lara Croft, Harley Quinn, She-Hulk. Tell us what you'll do.
Have you ever seen a puffet stuffing come out?
That's it? Okay, cool.
I can't even elaborate, man. Let me just tell you, I would be at the bottom of the pool. Let me tell you, it'd be amazing. Oh.
Cool.
Anyway, guys, I think that what? One more? Okay, one more. That's it. And I gotta go because my time is precious, guys.
Okay, Sir X-Men says, Handy, what would you do if Lizzo came to you and wanted some?
If Lizzo came to me and wanted some, I would disappear, literally. Once she got on top, the sex would never stop because I would be dead. I would suffocate. She would sit on top of me. You wouldn't even see my feet sticking out, okay? It would be a done deal. It'd be like too much chocolate, you know what I mean? I'd be brown downtown up there, let me tell you. Yeah, no, now Nicki Minaj, I'd go off for her all day, but Lizzo, honest to God, I couldn't handle that.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, wow.
All right, guys, have a good night. It was great seeing you. Welcome back to the show. Episode 21, If Nukem, you're an asshole. But anyway, take care, guys.
Technically, Noof Nukem is his asshole, if you think about it, right?
Yeah,
That's quite
right?
a character. That's quite a character.
Yeah.
I don't know how you survive with him around, Noof. Man, it's got to be a handful.
He's gonna take your job,
It's
dude.
gotta
You
be a
careful.
handful. Yes, that's a great way to put it.
He's gonna take your
Oh man. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. We are hovering just at about 2-hour mark. Once again, running over time, but hey, I kind of figured we would. The Game Awards nominees are always a handful, and we've had a great conversation tonight. So we will be back again. How does everybody feel about the Tuesday night time slots? So especially to the people in the chat. Mental, are you okay with this time slot?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Gives you a little half an hour, a little more time to actually get that meal in.
Yep. I haven't had to hide off camera while I'm eating lately, so it works. Later starts a little better.
Yeah, Tuesday nights have always worked better for me, period. I always say, like I said, jumping over other people's shows, but there's so many podcasts, it's near impossible to to
What do you
find an
do?
open time slot anymore.
Yeah.
And the weekends are always tough because they're unpredictable. So I think back to Tuesday, and I think this time slot's good. For those of you in the chat, does this time slot work for the majority of you? Let me know in the chat, please, yes or no. I mean, obviously you're here, so that bodes well. But at the same time, we couldn't do this show without your support. We've had almost 30 odd people in the show tonight at one time or another, and that's phenomenal. So you're boycotting until Cletus, because Cletus never went anywhere. He just can't do every show. And it's been a long time since we saw Handy Andy, so he had a lot to vent about tonight. You guys had some great questions for him, so that's awesome. UK here now, it's 4:30 a.m. in the morning, so the new time is okay with him working the nights. Well, glad to hear that, Timothy Dixon, man. You've been a long-time supporter and greatly appreciate you being here, my brother. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
All right. But anyway, let's get out of here. Like I said, Coolcat Terri, she will let me know when she will be back. It won't be too long. She might be away for a couple of weeks, but it should be back into the fold. She is just working some overtime now for the holidays. I think I'm getting a cold. And but she will be back, so don't worry about that. We look forward to having her back in the fold and some more great guests as we come. But anyway, let's let Wize Old Gamer get at it. Wize, it's been an honor and a pleasure. Great to have you back behind the camera on one of my podcasts. Wish you all the best with yours. Let people know where they can check out your show and catch up with you in the download, my brother.
Yeah, so yeah, I am the ever famous, the Wize Old Gamer, the man who brings the icky and sticky. So yeah, you can find me every Friday. Well, you can find me every Friday.
Too many visuals.
Yeah, the icky and sticky. So yeah, you can. I have a podcast, and it's me, Loke, Praxis, Cerebral Pulse, Supernova. We have Cells. We have Triple Combo. We have what's her name? Cozy Beluga. We all come in, and Doomslayer, and we all come in and we start talking. It's basically Friday evenings. It's 6 p.m. every Friday evening, 6 p.m. Eastern.
That's a lot of panel members. Jesus.
Yeah, it's basically the idea is this: we have a set list, we have topics that we talk about. We talk about the weekly news and everything, but it's just like, okay, a bunch of guys and gals, just friends who got off of work and got together in a bar, started drinking and just shooting the shit. And, wherever the conversation goes, the conversation goes. Sometimes it goes in gaming. Sometimes we talk about comics. Sometimes we talk about somebody's first experience with an edible, So, I mean, that happens. And then on occasion, somebody might even flaunt their ass or two. So, anyways, so yeah, every Friday on 6 p.m. Eastern time. And this Friday is because it is Black Friday. We are going to start earlier. So instead of 6 p.m., we're going to be starting at 4:30 p.m. this Friday. But every Friday, they're on out 6 p.m. And Fabulous. It's called Wasted with Wize. Otherwise, you can find me on Twitter, Wize Old Gamer with a Z, and PlayStation and Xbox.
Go give him a follow, support his channel, and hopefully we'll catch up with you soon, Wize. Thanks again for being here. Mental, always a pleasure to have you back on the show. Like I said, it felt like an eternity since we did a podcast, but here we are, episode 21, keeping it rolling. Let people know where they can catch up with you and Caffeine Entertainment.
Yeah, it was great working the rust out. Anyway, we had a few hiccups at the start, but it was fun. Had a good time tonight. Mental 9R pretty much everywhere. Twitter, X, whatever. Twitter for me. PlayStation and Xbox, and even on Steam, I'm Mental 9R. So you can find me there on YouTube, Caffeine Entertainment. I'm hoping to start to get some actual content rolling there a little bit more regularly anyway, once I've got my workspace set up / man cave area. It's getting close, should be done before the end of the month, and I'll get moved in there, take a bit to get set up, and I'll be good to go. So yeah, thanks chat for coming out. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate you putting up with us idiots. Good times.
Indeed. Yes, again, chat, thank you so much for coming out. Too many people to mention. Hopefully I give a shout out to everybody tonight. And once again, thank you doubly for all the super chats and the support. It is not required, but it is certainly greatly appreciated. It also goes back into some of the giveaways and things like that that'll happen on this show. And we'll have some of that coming up here in the near future. Hopefully something for the holiday season as well. So stay tuned for that. And we'll catch up with everybody soon. Thanks again for everything, guys. Please spread the word, share this out, hit the like button, tell your friends, take the link sometime and show some of your other gaming friends. And let's see, if we can get a few more, people over and enjoying the content. the show does a lot of same things as other podcasts, but I like to think as well that we do things a little bit differently in ways as well. And of course, the extra personas at the end are always a great laugh. And I know some of you strictly come out to see who's going to show up at the end of the show. It's always fun. But you're amazing. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you next week. And like I said, hopefully Terry will be back with us soon. But until then, guys, have yourself a great American Thanksgiving weekend coming up. Be safe. Enjoy your family, your friends, and be thankful, because God knows that around the world right now there's chaos and bedlam, and a lot of things are going to shit. So the fact that we still have a roof over our heads, food on our tables, and that for the most part we're healthy, and being able to talk about games, the silliness of the world, as opposed to worrying about bullets flying over our heads and persecutions and every other god named thing under the sun. It's just craziness out there. So like I said, there is a lot to be thankful for, no matter whether you're in the United States or Canada right now. So kudos to that, guys. Take care, and like I said, we wish you all to be safe and happy, and game on. And if you want to play some games, you know where to find me. It's Noof Nukem on Xbox, Noof Nukem 76 on PlayStation Network, and right here on this channel, Noof Nukem. Hit the like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode.
And
take care, everybody.
Whether it's your turkey or your wife, you make sure you lick it before you stick it.
Good night,
Words
folks.
from Wize.